This book is very much a heavy fantasy book, and I'm so excited to be rereading it. The tears, the emotions. Hi everyone, my name is Tori, this is Novel Life, and welcome back to my channel. And welcome to the start of a brand new reading vlog. I'm going to be reading for the second time Crescent City 1, House of Earth and Blood. I have this beautiful copy, which is the Barnes & Noble Special Edition copy, which I bought it because it's not very floppy, but it's paperback. I have the original hardback, and the pages are like Bible thin. I actually find it funny that I'm pretty sure I have a whole reading vlog on this book on my channel, like when I first started my channel. If I can find it, I'll have it linked in the description box below, because I did talk a lot about this book because I went from reading like the whole ACOTAR series to reading this book expecting it to be just as romantic and spicy, and this book is not that. This book is very much a heavy fantasy book, and I'm so excited to be rereading it. I love this world. The only reason why I'm reading this book is because obviously House of Flame and Shadow comes out January 30th, which is in a month and a half, which, oh my god, I cannot believe we're that close to the third book in this series. But I'm doing a read along. So December 17th, the day you're seeing this vlog, we'll have a live show talking about this. I think on Jess at Peace Love Books' channel, there's a whole bunch of posts. I'll have them tagged in the description box below. I'm very excited to chat with them because I cannot wait. Like, I cannot wait to chat about all the things in this book, because what I like to do with fantasy is that I'll read through it once, and then on my reread is when I will start tabbing and highlighting things, because that's when I know what happens, so I can start picking up clues and picking up things that I didn't know the first time I read it. So with all that being said, you saw how I set up my tabbing and highlighting stuff. I usually have 5. I like to do the whole like matching the cover thing. That's just me. And then I didn't realize this, but this is like the perfect like 10 centimeters, I guess you can say. Yeah, it's 10 centimeters wide. It is the exact length of this. So like if I'm highlighting the whole thing, I don't have to like move it side to side. It's like the perfect width. Anyway, I am on chapter 7. So I have started this book. What I like to do, if you haven't noticed, when I was highlighting, I physically read on my Kindle. I actually got this book from the library because I did not want to buy the Kindle version because I already had 2 physical copies of this, but I got it from the library. So I'm reading it on my Kindle and I'm highlighting because it is very hard for me to hold this book open and read. I mean, it's very lightweight, but it's too hard for me to do all that. So I like to make it neat and pretty when I highlight and write things. So I always go back. Yes, it takes more time, but that's my process and that's the way it works. I am enjoying highlighting and annotating this so much. So I'm on chapter 7, which is like 89 pages, I think. It's 89 pages. And that's exactly what the Kindle version is. So I don't know if they match it I don't know how they match it, but so much happens. So much happens at the beginning of this book. It's broken up into parts, yes. I love flipping through the book. So if I'm sitting here talking and I'm doing this, I always do that. But I'm highlighting so much of especially the character, the world building, and what I love about Sarah J. Maas's writing, which is I haven't reread a full Sarah J. Maas book in quite some time. Like I went and read Akamath and like parts of that, but I haven't like sat down and fully read it. She world builds in a way. She's not info dumping it to you. She's not blatantly telling you what's going on. She literally is explaining things as the characters. And she does it in a way where it's like a paragraph of information, and then you go and see what the character's doing in their life, and then there's another, you know, when you meet this character, she kind of like describes, and it's in a way where it's not overwhelming. And yes, this book is huge and it can be overwhelming to a lot of people, but it is done in a way that like this is why I love reading her fantasy books. Like this is a very fantasy heavy book. This doesn't have any romance. Like barely any. Like, she has a romance with one person, but it's not spicy, it's not any of that. Don't expect that with this book if you're reading it for the first time, but I am very much enjoying it. Chapter 5 broke my heart. Chapter 5 is when you find out what happens to Danica and the pack and all of that, and I forgot how quickly it happens. Like, I haven't read this book in like 3 years, you know what I mean? So I forgot all of the things that happened so quickly in this book, because I was like, wait, I thought we start with, you know, like Danica not being alive, basically, right? It happens in chapter 5, and I literally made a note on chapter 5. Where did it go? It says, this is the chapter where I gasp and my heart breaks. Because this whole chapter is very, very heartbreaking. Light it up, bitch, is the last thing that Danica says to Bryce. I highlighted that and I tabbed it because it's, light it up is like a thing in the book. So it says light it up, bitch, and then it says love you as she leaves. And that's the last actual words that Danica spoke to Bryce. So it was very bittersweet, but I'm loving this. I'm loving the introduction. I forgot how much I love Connor and Thorne and Danica, and I like mourn the loss of like the life that they could have had. But we also, right in chapter 6, we see Hunt, who is I can't even say what he is. He's the shadow of death, basically, but it's like he has a title or whatever. We see him. He's the one who found Bryce after she found everyone in her apartment, which was very heartbreaking. And then we meet my main man, which I did put him as my main man. Okay, you see that? My main man. I don't know if you can see that, but it says Rune Dannon, Crown Prince of the Valbaran Fae. Rune Dannon is one of my favorite characters, and you really see that in the second book. I know that for sure. So I never really paid attention to him in this book because he's just like the asshole brother to Bryce, or half brother. So I'm very excited to see what Rune Dannon's up to. We're getting to the part where I just want to like snuggle up in bed and read. So I'm definitely going to read some more. I have to read from page 89 to 250 tonight to stay caught up. So we'll see, because it's Monday and I have to finish this book by Saturday so I can edit my vlog for you on Sunday. So I think I could do it. That's like, once I get caught up with this, it's like 100 pages a day, which is actually not that bad. So yeah, that's my update. I wanted to start this vlog, open it up. I hope you come along with me. I'm just so excited to dive into this and just like eat up all of SJM's writing and all the things that she does and sets up and foreshadows for the next book. I'm so ready. I'm so ready. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Always when I start recording, she has something to say. Always she has something to say. You're propped up on my sofa. It's 10 o'clock at night. Excuse the mess, okay? Excuse the mess. I'm on chapter 24 of Crescent City, okay? I do not remember being this invested in the book so early on. Like, I'm only at 32%. Oh, I got my nails done today, by the way. They're gorgeous. There's just so many times, like, I've been like, how do I not remember this? How do I not remember this? How do I not remember this? I think it's because the first time I read this book, someone told me that it was super spicy. I think it was like one of the first books on TikTok I saw where they were like, it's so spicy, it's so spicy. So I go into this fantasy thinking that it's gonna be spicy. This book was not fucking spicy. And that was like the one viral TikTok I made in my life, like one viral TikTok. I talked about Crescent City. I was like, book talk, we had to have a conversation. Y'all said that this book was spicy, this book ain't spicy. That was my first viral TikTok. Oh my God, Mimi. But oh my God, I think honestly my taste in books have changed. Like, I'm a romance girly at heart, don't get me wrong. Like, I will always and forever love a romance book, but for some reason I've been so invested in this fantasy and like other fantasy books. Like, I want to read the Hurricane War. Like, some of like the most memorable books I've had this year have been fantasy ones, like Heavenly Bodies. I loved that book by Imani Iru. So I'm really interested to see like how I feel about the rest, because I have a whole vlog where I read this book for the first time in 2020.
when I first started my channel, it was a mess. It was a mess. It was an hour long of spoilers and rants and stuff like that, but I'm so invested. I also know what's gonna happen. Like, I have a general idea of what's gonna happen, so I'm like, okay. I need to like really pay attention, so I've been highlighting my ass off. How many highlights do I have so far? Let me see. I guess it doesn't tell me on my Kindle how many highlights I have, but I think I have over like 100 right now. So I'm on page 250. 24, 250. I wanted to get to 250 before I go take a shower. I wasn't planning on updating you tonight. Do you see this kitty cat? She's just a kitty cat. She just wants all the love. She just wants all the love and attention. She just wants all the love and attention. Oh no. Move your booty butt. She just wants all the love. I wasn't planning on updating you tonight, but I literally got to this chapter and I was like, how do I not remember this? How do I not remember? There's so many times I keep saying that. We'll see how many times I say that, but it's been great so far, and I'm loving it, so. Hi. I hope to get to page 400 tonight, so I have 150 pages left to read tonight. We'll see if I do that. God, my hair is a mess. I have read 130, so it's doable. I want to get to as close as 400 as I possibly can.
Well, here I am to update on this damn book. This freaking book. So, I officially put my highlights and tabs in up to chapter 43, and I am reading on my Kindle on chapter 55. So I only have like this much to highlight, left to highlight, like transfer my highlights to. So technically I'm on page 505, chapter 55, which means I have this much of the book left. I have 300 pages left because I think there's only 800 and something. Well, there's 799 pages technically, so I have a little less than 300. Today's Thursday, so I just got done working for the day. I'm still dealing with this cold and I need it to go away because it's very much annoying me, but I have 150 pages to read tonight, 150 pages to read tomorrow, so I am very excited for this now. Because I know what happens in the second book, at least I have the ending of the second book, like I've already read it, so I remember what happens. I'm looking at stuff in this book, right? So I got to, oh my gosh, where was it? There was a highlight where I got to that I was screaming that I had to reread, okay? There's just so much of this book that I freaking forgot about that I've been like dying, like literally dying about, that I'm like, how could I forget that? Like just the little things between like how tortured Hunt is as a character, like how tortured he is, how he's been enslaved for so long, and that this like taste of freedom that he has is on the edge, like is in his reach, and he just like is trying to do everything he can to get it. That has me on the edge of my seat. I'm like writing so much. I had to add in a new color because I went with this blue color for like her eyes. You can, I don't know if you can see it, but there's like little blue in here, but I went with that because my foreshadowing color, which was supposed to be for characters foreshadowing and romance, is starting to run out. I do hope it stays to the end of the book. I think it will, but so when annotating this copy, I've started something different. Let me see if I can find like a thing. If I want to highlight like a whole section, like pages and pages like I do on my Kindle, instead of actually taking that and highlighting all of it, because that can waste my highlighter a lot, I started doing this where, let me find it, hang on. So like for example on this page, instead of highlighting like all of this and all of this, I just put a line next to it just so I know, and then I put my note at the bottom down here of like why I highlighted that way, because it saves my highlighters a little bit. But yeah, I've been just enjoying the shit out of this. I stayed up until like 12:30 last night. I sent some voice memos to a friend about like all this stuff, and she was like, you have to remember for our live show, because I was like, I can't wait for our live show to talk about this book on the 17th. So like the day that you're seeing this, we're having a live show to talk about it, because like I just want to talk about all the things I highlighted. But a lot of this stuff refers to book 2 and what happens, and we can't spoil book 2. So I'm like, oh, so I'm just gonna sit during this live show the whole time and just like pout and not talk, because I feel like anything I say could be a spoiler. But there's a lot of stuff that's happening. I know that Sarah J Maas puts her whole ass heart into the last like 200 pages of all of her books, so I know it's going to be very hard for me to read the last 200 pages. But yeah, I'm going to go and highlight the rest that I have to get caught up, because it was a lot. I went from chapter 11 to chapter 55. That's how many I had to highlight and stuff. I just hadn't had time to transfer. So today I took like 45 minutes and sat down and did that. Yeah, I'm gonna go highlight, but I'm trying to keep this as spoiler free as possible. If you want spoilers, you can go check out like my original Crescent City vlog. I do rant in there, but I feel like now that I've read this once and I've read House of Sky and Breath, I have a better appreciation now that I'm rereading this. Like, I understand what she was trying to do. I also love that my nails like match. It makes me so ridiculously happy. I love it so much. Anyway, I'm having the best time. I hope you guys are enjoying this vlog, and I will probably update you at the end of the book because I don't know if I can like stop myself once I start reading tonight. We'll see. We'll see. Well, I'm back and I did it. I finished Crescent City, House of Earth and Blood. Oh, the tears, the emotions, all of it. Just this, oh, okay. So I actually looked at my Goodreads after I read this book, okay? And because I wanted to mark it as I finished it, because I did just finish it last night. I said I was supposed to read 100 pages Thursday night, 100 pages Friday night. It is Friday in the afternoon, and I finished it all last night because I knew once I started on the last 300 pages that, like, I just knew I was gonna fly through it. Like, I knew I could not stop because I know so much that happens. And I'll tell you, I cried. So the first time when I read this book, like I said, I looked at my Goodreads and I gave it 4.5 stars. And I was like, I didn't even read my review. I kind of just, you know, just put the edit saying this is a 5-star read, yada, 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 right? Let me tell you, I sobbed the last like 150 pages. Like, if you know, you know, because I'm trying to keep this spoiler free, but like the things that Bryce has to go through in this book just like draws me in, and I can relate to. Well, she's like, you know, early 20s, 25, I think. Like, I'm 29, about to be 30, so it's just kind of like I can still relate to it in a way that like when I was that age, I was struggling with a lot of things. And I forgot how the romance in this book, like the romance in this book I say is non-existent. There really isn't any. But when it does come up, it's real. It's not anything playing around. They're not playing around with each other. When it comes up and it's mentioned, it's like, I feel something for you and me and you are going to be it to the end of time. And for me, that's is just a beautiful way to describe Bryce and Hunt's relationship, because it is different than a couple other, it is different than her other series and her other couples that she writes about. And I feel like it was, a lot of people aren't going to understand when they read the book the first time of what their romance means and like how they get together and how it can go from like, oh, them just being friendly to like not. It's like the things that they had to go through in this book, the end of this book. Like, when you're put in that situation, you rethink a lot of things, and Bryce and Hunt both thought a lot of things. And I forgot so many pieces that happened. Like, I remembered one piece that I was sad about the first time I read it, but this time I sobbed. I was like, I couldn't get it together. Like, Brennan was sitting next to me in bed and he was like, once again, you're crying over a book. I'm like, yes, I am. Yes, and I can't get it together. I was like, I need to focus on the world and highlighting and doing all this, but like I can't because I was like tearing up and crying. And this reread just, I know it took me like 5 days to read this, but this reread is really what I needed. And it put me in such a fantasy mood that now I want to pick up another fantasy. So I think I'm going to start reading more fantasy. I was going to start in the new year because I have a lot of fantasy books. Like, I'm making a 24 books to read in 2024. And I said I wasn't going to do that, but I'm like, you know what? Why not do it? Why not? Why the fuck not, right? And I'm gonna do that. I'm also gonna film, that's why I have a lot of makeup on and my hair is like all done and stuff. I'm filming a guide to Sarah J Maas, which I feel like a lot of people have like questions about the reading order and all of this stuff, and I just wanted to put it out there that like you can read it in whatever order, but this is what I would recommend as someone who has read all of her books. So that's coming next week if you guys want to watch that. But rereading Crescent City was beautiful, and I'm glad it ended the way that it did, because I was like, I could take a fresh breath, because I know how book 2 ends, obviously, because I'm going to do that reread in January, but the way that book 2 ends is very different than the way book 1 ends. Book 1 ends where it's like, okay, this moment and this like little task that they had to do is done. We're at a point where we can all breathe. Everything's okay for right now. And then book 2 ends on a major cliffhanger, so I know as soon as I finish book 2, I'm gonna want book 3, which is coming out on January 30th. Thank God it's coming out on January 30th. We have less than 50 days. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for it. So yeah, I'm so happy that I've been doing this reread, and it was great. I loved it so much. I loved annotating this copy. So a lot of these pages, these are really thick pages, but I actually pulled down all my original Sarah J Maas, and I'll show you, this is the original paperback. And this one says it's still $7.99, but I don't know what it was, but these pages are like Bible thin, and this is a heavy book compared to this. Like, this is lighter, but it's still 799 pages, so I don't know if it's like the paper they used. I don't know. This feels like a very heavy book. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this vlog. I really hope you enjoyed me rereading. I wish I would have got it on camera, but I was a mess. Like, I was in my pajamas. My hair was like sideways in my little ponytail that I wear to bed. It like shifted sideways when I was flopping back and forth. I finished it at like 12:30 in the morning. And I was crying and I was a mess. So I was like, we're not going to put myself out there crying in a YouTube video. But I'm so glad I read this book. Again, I love it. I love Sarah J Maas's writing. I cannot sing all the praises. If you've read it, you can let me know what you thought of it, whether it was a reread or the first time. Like I said, this video is going up on the 17th of December. So we do have a live show for Crescent City 1, House of Earth and Blood, on Sunday night at 8 on Justice channel. I think it's at 8 p.m. on Justice channel. I'll link it in the description box below if you want to join. But yeah, for the emoji, drop me like a crescent moon for Crescent City, a red emoji, a sword, anything that matches this cover, because I loved it. All my tabs. I still have to go put my tabs in for the rest of this, but I did want to sit down and update this video before I dive into filming, and I forgot. But thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe for more content from me. As always, I hope you're living a novel life, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys!